Welcome back to The Explainer. I'm absolutely thrilled you're joining me today because, well, we're tackling what is literally humanity's greatest modern challenge. And you know what's crazy? It's not a problem of scarcity. We've been completely conditioned to think we just don't have enough to go around. But what if the issue isn't a lack of resources, but rather this profound fragmentation of them? Today, we're exploring a fascinating concept that actually attempts to solve this whole shebang: Zumosun, the global resource engine.
Here's our roadmap for today. We'll start with the resource paradox, then look at the cost of disconnection, dive into the Zumosun thesis, explore the transformation framework, and finally wrap up with the exponential future.
All right, let's jump right into part one, the resource paradox.
Okay, let's dive into this. We've got over 8 billion minds on this planet, right? The world absolutely has enough people. We have this massive, incredible abundance of talent, creativity, and ambition. Yet, as the Zumosun preface points out, the right people just aren't connected to the right opportunities. It's like a giant puzzle where all the pieces are there, but they're scattered everywhere. We have this huge surplus of human potential that is simply isolated, unable to find that exact environment it needs to actually thrive.
And you know, this disconnect echoes across literally every sector of our civilization. The world has enough knowledge, yet that knowledge often remains completely disconnected from execution. The world has enough technology, yet it's totally inaccessible to the people who need it the most. And think about capital. There are trillions of dollars moving through global markets every single day, yet that capital frequently fails to reach the most transformative, world-changing ideas out there. We're basically drowning in potential, yet starving for progress.
Which brings us to this really powerful realization. The problem is not scarcity. Not at all. We live in what Zumosun calls an inactivated universe. The resources exist. The people, the money, the tech, the ideas, they're all right there. But they're dormant. They're just sitting there, waiting for connection, waiting for activation, waiting for execution.
So what happens when things stay disconnected? Let's move to section 2, the cost of disconnection.
And this brilliantly illustrates exactly what we're talking about. To really grasp the impact here, we have to look at the relationship between economic complexity and output. While we're looking at a traditional view of regional economics, it perfectly hammers home Zumosun's mission. When capabilities remain isolated, economic output just stagnates, it goes nowhere. But when resources and industries actually interconnect, value doesn't just grow, it compounds. This proves why connecting global resources is absolutely crucial for sustainable value. Isolated, low-complexity activities keep systems stuck in the mud, while connected, complex networks are what generate true wealth.
Now, this compounding effect is exactly what leads to an exponential universe. Just look at this growth curve. When human potential, like the raw desire to start businesses and formalize ideas, is matched with a unified system, we stop seeing linear progression. Instead, we see this incredible 11.2% exponential trajectory. But right now, without a global engine in place, this massive surge of entrepreneurial energy faces immense friction. People are desperately trying to activate their potential, but they're stuck navigating disconnected legal, financial, and tech hurdles entirely on their own.
Which brings us to the core solution. Section 3, the Zumosun thesis.
So let's get one thing straight right off the bat. Zumosun is not just your standard company, and it's definitely not just a simple software platform. It's explicitly defined as a global resource engine. Think of it as a universal framework and infrastructure designed from the ground up to serve as the ultimate bridge between potential and performance. It's an ecosystem where discovery, connection, collaboration, and execution are meant to become completely 100% frictionless.
So, the crucial point is that Zumosun operates on this fundamental principle. Literally, everything is a resource. People, knowledge, relationships, data, even problems are resources because they hold the hidden potential for a solution. But here's the catch. The value of a resource is completely dependent on its state. If it's disconnected, its value is entirely dormant. If you connect it, boom, you get potential value. If you activate it, it becomes productive. But when you finally execute it, that, my friends, is when you unlock transformational value.
Let's zoom out a bit and look at the big picture in section 4, the transformation framework.
Zumosun actually charts this entire evolution through a very specific civilization transformation framework. We start way down at the bottom in the inactivated universe, where everything is just fragmented. Then, through engines like Zumosun, we step up to the activated universe. From there, the framework outlines several crucial leaps, mapping our journey all the way through to an interconnected, highly advanced state. And all of this, it ultimately leads us to the final goal, the exponential universe and civilization.
Let's move to and see how this builds, specifically focusing on that most critical first leap, getting out of the inactivated universe. In the IU, you might have a brilliant engineer sitting in one city and a visionary founder with a ton of capital in another, but they never meet. The resources are completely dormant. The shift to the activated universe totally flips the script. Suddenly, those resources become visible and accessible. Activation is the required catalyst here. It's the spark that turns an isolated idea into a living, breathing, collaborative reality.
And that brings us to our final destination. Section 5, the exponential future.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is that in this ultimate vision, the exponential universe and civilization, or EUC, the very definition of growth fundamentally changes. It's no longer just a slow, linear progression. When resources are globally connected and technology is fully democratized across the board, innovation becomes continuous. One activated resource feeds right into another, creating this massive chain reaction. In this state, growth actively compounds through intelligence, collaboration, and super rapid execution.
And because that growth is compounding, the very fabric of time it takes to transform our world basically collapses. Historically, major civilization transformations took centuries. I mean, think of the agricultural or industrial revolutions. Recently, with the dawn of the internet, that timeline shrank to decades. But in a fully interconnected exponential universe, the timeline compresses drastically. What used to take a lifetime can now occur in mere months or even days, all thanks to exponential digital ecosystems executing seamlessly in the background. It's mind-blowing.
This entire explainer really boils down to this singular, absolute truth. Growth compounds through connection. Growth compounds through execution. Value isn't just something that sits around waiting to be found like buried treasure. It is a direct result of intelligent, deliberate activation. By bridging the gap between dormant resources and active execution, the Zumosun framework shows us that the ceiling for human potential is infinitely higher than we ever thought possible.
So, I want to leave you with a question to really chew on today. Think about your own life, your business, your ideas, your network. Are your resources just sitting there in an inactivated universe, remaining dormant and disconnected? Or are you taking the steps to connect, activate, and execute them into something truly exponential? The potential is already there. It's literally just waiting for you to flip the switch. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and I'll catch you next time.